Welcome to the fantasy update. Yeah, another week. You know what
Back
it is.
at it.
We recap last week. We look forward to next week. We talk about everything in between. We talk about all the tips and tricks of the league. You know how it goes. So let's get started. Let's do our normal first segment. It's the recap of last week.
All right, first game of the week here. We have Dak and Decker over It's Miller Time, 124.6 to 97.1. Great showing by my team this week. Couldn't be more thrilled to take a W off the defending champ, but really had to do it the hard way this week. Had to rely on a 40 combined points between Adam Vinatieri and the Vikings D. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. Take that combined with another 21 points from Brandon Marshall was enough to get the W against the defending champ.
You know what they say, defense and special teams wins championships.
I'd say.
The buys really got to me this week. Without the Breeze and Cooks connection that I love so much, my team could not get enough momentum for the win. Lamar and Crowell struggled, while Tevin Coleman got a nice 24 points on my bench. I really need to sit back and evaluate my team and figure out how to get some of that magic back from earlier in the season. All right, so let's go on to our next matchup on that somber note. It's Morning Woodhead with 98.2 points against Julio Guinacol with 97.3. Yes, you heard it right. It's less than a point difference. And Jerry had a big upset this week by defeating Chris, Devonta Freeman, and Melvin Gordon. Had solid games again, as well as relatively unknown Jeremy Curley. Had a very nice game for Jeremiah. I'm sure Jerry was biting his nails Monday night watching the game, but Jameis Winston got him just enough points to get that win.
Hey, hats off to Coach Jerry Schaefer there. Big upset win. Julio kind of shot Chris in the foot this week. You know, it's another disappearing act from the star wide receiver, and it had to sting for Coach Chris Keel a little bit to leave Devonta Adam on the bench with 17 points. And that would have secured the win for him. So it's a tough blow right there, but I still see Chris's team as a stout playoff contender. As we've seen, when his team is firing all cylinders, it's something to be scared of. So look out for Chris moving forward.
Yep.
All right, moving right along, we have Ben Burgers over Brown vs. Board of Education, 135.9 to 112. This is a high-scoring affair right here. Just an explosive week for teams Ben Burgers. Ben Roethlisberger is making a case to be that he's the number one quarterback in all of fantasy right now. And his offense just looks untouchable, right? And pair that with monster performance from David Johnson. Mike's team looks great right now, and his team's coming alive at the right time, and he's going to pose a threat to some playoff teams down the road.
Yeah, I think so too. Mark once again had a solid game, but it just, with Mike's team blowing up, there wasn't much he could do. His entire team, other than Will Fuller, got double digits. There's not much more you can ask for from your team. I feel like we say it every week, but expect Mark to bounce back from this. He's scored a lot of points so far this season, and he'll get some wins. He'll be all right.
He'll be good.
All right. And
China.
You know that sound?
China.
Blow of the week.
All right, no surprise here. We have OBJYN over This Girl Is on Fire, 133 to 86.1. I mean, we all expected it. Team OBJYN with another huge week. Just getting it done from all positions. Tight end Martellus Bennett with 3 scores. And now that Odell has made amends with that kicking net, you know, who knows what he's capable of. I'd look for some big games from the young wideout moving forward. And, I mean, with his team firing on all cylinders like this, I'd say it's I'm pretty much guaranteed that the road through the Joey Marsh Cup is going to go through Team OBJYM.
Yep, and John's team struggled once again, getting obliterated by Brett.
Yeah.
Not much he can do about that. He's dealing with injuries from Des Bryant and Jonathan Stewart, so his lineup at the moment could use some improvement, but both Jonathan Stewart and Des are... Jonathan Stewart's coming back this week. Des should be coming back very soon, next week or two, we'll see. But as well as the emergence of Steelers wideout Sammy Coates.
Yeah, smart pickup.
His team could start making a turn for the better. He's 1-4. He's got to start winning games, but he might just do it, or he could just play upset and take out some teams that are in playoff contention. We'll see what happens.
Who knows? Fantasy is a crazy game. We'll see.
All right, our next matchup: Zeke Leak, 84.3 against T. McMahon, 80.4. And Ezekiel Elliott saved the day for Nick. He scored over 30 points. Derek Carr had a solid showing with 300-plus yards and 2 touchdowns, but the Indianapolis DST almost lost it for Nick. They scored -4 points. They could have easily lost it for him, but he got just enough to get that win.
Hey, and hats off to Team Zeke League, eking out a close win there. And this one has to hurt for James here. It's another tough loss again for Team McMahon. He did have some solid performances from his wide receivers, Thomas and Cobb, but it has to hurt leaving Gronk's 13 points on the bench. And I mean, Gronk is as close to a sure thing as you get in all of fantasy. I can't believe that he left him out. Brady coming back, it's just baffles me here, and we'll see. He'll have to overcome that loss if he wants to make a chance run at the playoffs here. And with that loss of the matchup, he's earned himself fuck up of the week.
You done fucked up. I don't know what you're thinking, James. Change your shitty team name, too. Maybe that'll help you out a little bit.
That might bring you some luck.
God. All right. Christ on the bike, 128.8 against Why Did I Draft Golden Tate, 105.4. And John may as well be thanking Christ with the return of Tom Brady. He got 406 yards and 3 touchdowns. You think he's a little pissed about his suspension?
Oh yeah, fuck the NFL tour, part 2, I'd say.
Yeah, sure seems like it. Jordan Howard, Tyrell Williams, and Greg Olsen all scored over 20 points. John just all around had a very nice game. There's nothing else you can say about it. And we'll see if he can keep it up with the win against Mike next week. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, and this has to hurt for Coach Joey Sullivan, putting up over 100 points, still coming away with the loss, but big games from T.Y. Hilton and Carlos Hyde. Some bright spots, but just not enough to get it done over John's team this week. Fans of Why Did I Draft Golden Tate, they have to keep their heads up, though. I mean, I see good things on the horizon for this team. Their performance would have won multiple games this week, and these tough games are just part of fantasy sometimes. So I'd say Coach Joey Sully just has to keep making the right decisions, and the wins will pile up, sure enough.
You can do it, JoJo. We believe in you. All right, with that, let's go to our first commercial break. We'll be back with Ben's favorite segment, Coach of the Week. And, we'll see you when we get back. Bye.
Aaron Rodgers, DeMarco Murray, Julio Jones, Rob Gronkowski. What do these players all have in common? That's simple. I would trade you Golden Tate for any of them. Please. I really need a better team. Please.
And we're back with the fantasy update on the Joey Marsh League Network. It's time for Coach of the Week. On the hot seat this week, we have Nick Carp, only putting up 84.3 points out of a possible 127.3. It's a lot of points left on the board. Nick finds himself on the hot seat once again this week. His team came away with the win, but I think fans are starting to question some of his decisions. I mean, starting Kenny Stills over the likes of Amari Cooper, that's kind of messed up. So I think Nick's going to need to start making some better decisions if he wants to see his team continue to win games. And that brings us to our man of the hour, Coach of the Week, Mr. Jerry Schaefer. Needed all of his 98.2 points to pull off a victory against Chris. Nice job, Jerry. And, talk about a coach who's dealing with adversity here. He's lost multiple key players to injury for the year. And yet he made all the right calls this weekend to get every single point possible to come away with the win over Chris. Nice work, Jerry. All right, and that brings us to our next commercial break, and we'll be back with this week's Power Rankings and our Game of the Week. Stick around.
Have you ever tried to come up with a second commercial idea for a fantasy update show that maybe 11 other people will watch, but ran out of time? Me neither. Colgate. Brush your teeth, bitch.
Welcome back, bitches. All right, now we're doing the power rankings. Ben, start us off.
All right, number 1 comes as no surprise to any of us. We have Team OBJYN with Brett at the helm. Another big week this week. He's staying at number 1. But moving up to number 2, we got our boy MacLeod, Ben's Burgers, coming in. He's fighting for that number 1 spot, so look out. Followed by Christ on a Bike, John Keller, big win this week. He found himself moving up. And then at number 4, we have our defending champ, Ryan. It's Miller time, still holding strong in a playoff position despite a couple losses. And then number 5, we have Brown versus Board of Education. Mark Thompson again, dealing with some tough losses. I look for him to contend towards the end of the season. And then rounding out our top half, we have Chris with Julio Gonna Call.
All right, and then our second half of the power rankings, the lower half. Number 7, we got Joey. Why did I draft Golden Tate? You know, he's doing decent. I think he'll keep climbing up there. We'll see what happens.
He's in contention.
And then we got you, Dak and Decker, Ben. I think you moved up a little bit.
Middle jump. You beat the defending champ. You move up a little bit.
Yeah, that says something. And then we got Nick at number 9. James, T. McMahon. So
what the hell,
dude?
man?
So fucking
change your name.
Number 10, number 12 in name shittiness. Number 11 is Jerry. He moved up a spot.
Hey,
congrats,
coach of the
man.
week. Moves
you got
up.
the win. You moved up. You're not in last. I hope you're happy, bitch. And John, you're number 12. Again, you're the only 1-4 team in our league. I mean, sorry, it's just the way it's got to be. Hopefully you can creep your way up from here on out. We'll see. All right, and with that, we're going to go on to our game of the week. It's a pretty intense one. It's OBJYN, Brett versus Julio Gonna Call, Chris. 2 top teams. I mean, Chris dropped a little bit, but he's still up there. They're both projected within a point of each other, so we'll see what can happen. I'm not gonna lie, I'm undefeated with my picks. I'm going with Brett again. You can't deny his team has just been unstoppable, obviously, this year. DeMarco Murray came out of nowhere. He's been killing it. LaShawn McCoy, LeGarrette Blount, just his running backs are insane.
He's stacked.
And then OBJ, he's hugging nets. He's making amends. He's getting touchdowns finally. So I think Brett's gonna pull it off again, but we'll see.
All right. We got all this hype surrounding Team OBJYN, but upset alert again. This is the week. Julio Gonna Call coming off a loss. They're gonna be playing angry. Coach Chris Keel's gonna have his boys fired up for this one. How can you not? We have Julio Jones. He laid an egg last week, but he's got that 300-yard potential. He's going to go off for a big game. Le'Veon Bell, been doing it since he's been back from the suspension. I expect no different this week. Big game from him. And I think C.J. Anderson's going to get it back in yak. He started off hot. He had a good start to the season, but he's cooled off a bit lately, and I think he's really going to get it back on the winning track going this week. And I think if we can get Chris's team firing at all cylinders and just get some consistency, I think he has a good shot at being Team BJYN this week.
We'll see what happens. It's been tough. No one's really, other than me, early in the season, no one's been able to figure out how to be OBJYN, but maybe this is the week.
It could happen.
Find out.
It's going to happen.
And with that,
look at that.
That's another week of Fantasy Update. I hope you've been filled in.
Got your fill.
Yeah.
Per se.
Exactly. And we'll be back next week. We'll see what happens. That's about it.
Hopefully.
All right. See you.